You're 7 years old when the merchant's hand closes around your wrist in the Agra bazaar, and your mother's scream disappears into the crowd. The women around you wear silk. You are given cotton rags. The eunuch at the gate says you now belong to the emperor. That's your first lesson. In the Mughal Harem, you have no name, only a price. You're 7 when they take you. It is 1648 in Agra, and the Mughal Empire is at the height of its power. The Red Fort rises above the Yamuna River like a blood-red mountain, its walls stretching nearly 2.5 kilometers. Inside those walls lives an entire world, the Zenana, the inner harem, where over 1,000 women are kept away from the outside forever. You do not enter through the main gate. You are taken through a side passage, a low doorway that forces you to bend your head. The eunuch who leads you, a heavy-set man named Mubarak Khan, does not look at your face. He counts you the way a merchant counts grain. The Zenana smells of rose water and smoke. You expect to be dazzled because you have heard the stories: gold floors, jeweled peacocks, fountains that never stop running. What you find instead is a maze of narrow corridors connecting hundreds of rooms, each one packed with women who have been here so long they have forgotten the color of the sky outside. You are assigned to the lowest tier. There are 3 classes of women here: the empress and her royal daughters, the concubines and wives, and then the servitors, women like you, bought from markets in Agra, Delhi, Persia, and Central Asia. The servitors do not eat with the concubines. They sleep on thin cotton mattresses in the outer rooms, closest to the noise of the guards. Your first task is to fan the senior concubine Gul Rukbanu while she naps in the afternoon heat. The fan is made of peacock feathers, and it is heavier than it looks. After 40 minutes, your arms begin to shake. When you stop for just a moment to rest, Gulruk Banu's personal attendant, a sharp-faced woman named Zubaydah, slaps the back of your head without looking up from her embroidery. You are 7 years old. You do not cry. You have already learned that crying here does not stop anything. It only makes the others watch. The girl who sleeps next to you is named Paro. She is 9, and she was brought from a village in Rajasthan 3 months before you. She shows you where the food is distributed at dawn, a small courtyard near the kitchen where servants receive a portion of rice and lentils. If you are not there at first light, you go hungry. There are no second helpings. Haro also teaches you the only rule that matters inside the Zenana: never be seen, never be heard, and never, under any circumstance, make a mistake in front of the emperor's mother, Empress Dowager Jahanara Begum. Jahanara is the most powerful woman in the empire, more feared than the empress herself. Her word can have a servant transferred to the Deccan frontier, where the heat and disease will finish what the journey started. You're 11 when you understand what the Zenana really is.
Now.
A woman named Sitara disappears one Tuesday morning. She was a concubine, second tier, a Persian girl who had lived in the harem for 6 years. The night before, you had seen her arguing in a low voice with the chief eunuch, a towering man named Khwaja Sarwar. You did not hear what was said. By dawn, Sitara's room had been cleared. Her embroidery hoop, her brass mirror, her single pair of leather slippers, all gone. When you ask Paro where Sitara has been taken, Paro grabs your arm and pulls you into the laundry room. "Don't ask," Paro says. Her voice is flat and certain, the voice of someone who stopped asking a long time ago. She's gone. That's all. You learn, over the following months, that women disappear from the Zenana in several ways. Some are promoted, given to a visiting nobleman as a gift, which is presented as an honor even when the woman involved is not asked. Some are sent to the outer palace to serve as domestic staff in the administrative quarters. And some simply vanish, the way Sitara did, for reasons that are never explained and never discussed. By the time you are 12, you have learned to read the hierarchy of the harem, the way a soldier reads a battlefield, constantly, carefully, with your survival depending on accuracy. The empress holds formal power, but it is the senior concubines, the ones who have borne the emperor children, who hold real influence over daily life. These women can have a servant punished on a whim, or protected, just as easily. The safest strategy is to be necessary to one of them and invisible to the rest. You become necessary to a concubine named Mer-un-Nisa, a Kashmiri woman in her early 30s who has been in the harem for 15 years. She has never been summoned by the emperor, not once, but she manages this humiliation by becoming indispensable as an administrator. She oversees the distribution of fabric allowances for the servitor women, manages the schedule of the inner courtyard fountains, and keeps meticulous records of who owes whom which small favors. Mayor Nisa recognizes that you are quick. You can memorize spoken lists without error. You learn the Nastaliq script, the flowing Persian calligraphy used in official harem correspondence, in 4 months, when it normally takes a year. She begins using you as a runner, carrying sealed notes between rooms in the complex. You are small and fast, and you do not gossip. But literacy inside the harem is both a gift and a danger. At 13, you begin to understand what the documents you carry actually say. You carry a letter from a senior concubine requesting that a specific servant girl, a 14-year-old from Gujarat named Hemla, be transferred to a distant imperial outpost. The letter is polite. It gives no reason. 3 days later, Hemla's gone, her mattress rolled up in the corner where she used to sleep. You carry the letter that sent her away. You will think about that for the rest of your life. You're 14 when the lie begins to crack. It is not a dramatic moment. It is a Tuesday afternoon, and you are scrubbing the tiles in the antechamber outside Jahanara Begum's reception room when you overhear 2 senior attendants talking on the other side of the screen. They are arguing about a woman, a former concubine who had escaped from the Mughal Zenana 20 years earlier. They discuss her fate the way you might discuss a scorpion that had been found and crushed underfoot, with satisfaction and a mild contempt. But one of them says something that stops your hands on the tile. She actually got as far as the river. The first attendant says, they caught her at the Yamuna crossing in a peasant woman's clothes. Can you imagine? In peasant clothes. She said she had a cousin in Mathura who would help her. You press your ear very close to the screen. You are thinking, she tried. She actually tried. At 15, you begin to map the Zenana in your mind. Not because you have decided anything, you are not so bold yet, but because the information feels like oxygen, like something you need simply to breathe. You learn the rotation schedule of the guards on the south wall. You learn that the laundry corridor connects, through a series of storage rooms, to the outer service passage, used by the water carriers who bring clay pots from the river at 4 in the morning. You learn this by walking, slowly, with purpose, carrying something in your hands, so you always have a reason to be wherever you are. Pero catches you standing at the end of the laundry corridor one evening, staring at the locked door at the far end. Stop it, she says. Her voice is tired, not angry. They caught a woman in 1641 who made it all the way to the river. Do you know what happened to the 3 women who helped her? They were given to the camp followers on the Deccan campaign. All 3 of them. For helping. You know she is right. The punishment for escape is not only visited on the woman who tries, it ripples outward, to everyone who is close to her, everyone who might have known. At 16, Mayor Nisa promotes you. You are now her personal secretary, the highest position available to a servitor woman. You keep her accounts in a locked brass box, and you sleep outside her door, on a slightly thicker mattress. You eat at her table, a small wooden table, but still, you now receive 2 sets of clothes per season instead of 1, and you begin to notice that Mayor Nisa is also collecting information in her own careful way. She has been here 15 years. She knows things about the senior concubines that the chief eunuch does not know. She knows which women have debts and which women have alliances, and which woman paid for the removal of Satara. The Persian girl who disappeared when you were 11. One evening, when you are 17, she calls you to sit beside her instead of across from her. She pours you a small cup of chai, something she has never done before, and she looks at you for a long moment before she speaks. I am going to be moved, she says, to Aurangabad. The new governor has requested female administrative staff from the Zenana. She pauses. I have the ability to request that you come with me, or I can arrange for you to stay here, with a letter of recommendation to Gulrukh Banu's household. She sets down her cup. Aurangabad is far, but it has an outer wall. She does not say anything more. She does not need to. An outer wall. You have spent 10 years inside a place with no outer wall, only inner ones. You're 18 when you arrive in Aurangabad, and the journey itself is a kind of education. You travel in a palanquin with curtains drawn. You are not permitted to look outside. But the curtains are thin cotton, and the light that filters through them shifts and changes with the land. the flat river plains of Agra giving way to the rocky scarp of the Deccan Plateau, and after 9 days of travel and 4 overnight stops in guarded caravanserais, you understand with your whole body what you only knew abstractly before. There is an outside. It has continued existing all this time.